Hello, the game has started and it's me to go first. I have a pretty balanced rack. Is there a bingo? Dogate. Does that take a D? No, it doesn't, but Dogate is good. Do I play it here or one across? What about Dodge? Yeah, this seems okay. Not a bad pickup. Pantile jumps out as a bingo. And there'll no doubt be others through these floaters. Pleating onto the G. Pleating still remains available. I now have another A to work with. Anti-prefix. And this E looks useful as well. Tape line. No 4-timers on offer? No. Tape line for 83. Not a bad pickup. I have a very nice looking rack. Radgist, I believe, is a bingo. And now I have a Y to work with. Opponent scores well with Harry. I do have this L to play through for a possible 4-timer. The Y obviously a bit trickier, but that could be a very high scoring 9-timer if there is an 8 incorporating the Y in the middle of the word. Graced, for example. Graced, I don't think is a word. No. Now, back to the top of the board. Radgist and Dodger. What about something through the E? Gastard. Gastard. Not a great pickup, but I've had a few good ones, so I can't complain. Iwi would be one way to sort this rack out. Opponent scores well with Boxy. Iwi does play underneath Gastard. But Iwi does take a K front hook. So if opponent has the K, that'll be an easy score for him. Where else would Iwi play? Could also play Niddy here. That would get rid of 2 eyes. and frustrate the floaters. Pity I can't take advantage of this X. I have no vowel that plays above the X. I think I will play iwi here. 16. That's a little bit better compared to the previous rack. Wow, opponent bingos and almost takes the lead, but he's drawn level. Now, what do I have here? Any bingo ending in IC? Not that I can see. The R does look useful with this set of tiles. Terpenic, but not terpunic. Now, is there a PER play? Peric or Pern? That does create a very hot spot there. I don't like that. What about Peck and Sick? That looks alright for 36. Hope I'm not missing a bingo. Now I have the ing ending, and I've drawn the K, which shame I've blocked that hook opportunity. Trunking, that looks good. For 84. Created a hot spot at 12H. That's going to score quite well for opponent if he's got the right tiles. Now the Q I can just dump at D1 or 12H if that remains available. Unlikely to. Now there's a hotspot created at 14B across. Yeah. Oyer. That's actually quite a nice score, that. Opponents exchanged 4. Look at this, 38 points versus 22 for QI. I've got to go with this because I've got 2 Q spots anyway. I won't be stuck with it. 38 for Oyer. Now, how did opponent go with his... Yeah, his change worked out well. I've still got a slight lead and I've got a decent play. Oh, almost Kiviut if I had a U. So, is it QI? I think it is for 44. If I draw an S, I've got chins for a similar score. I'm going with this. It also takes out the hotspot for my opponent. Novate plus a T. Not sure there's a 7 here. Wow. 48-point power play in the top left by opponent. Looking at good spots for the V. Maybe a 6-letter play at J1 across. Nothing that I can see. What about an AV play? No, not seeing anything there. Or maybe something through the A. Wow, what to do? Okay, Z still to come. Here's a hot spot at 10J. That's a 60-point power play if opponent is able to take advantage. So I think I'll try scupper his plans. I know there's also a Z option here, so I'm going to play something like veto, which makes it a little bit harder for opponent to score well with the Z. As it happens, I've picked up the Z. Now I've got chins for a handsome 39. Spec is good, and saz or stanzas. Wow, look at this. 109-point power play on the left, and this should play to the right of Ramius as well. So I should be bingoing. Just checking if there's a good overlap that starts lower down. Not seeing it. Both blanks have been played, not particularly bingo-y, the remaining tiles. Opponent doesn't have an option to play in the trip lane because the only front hook for Peck is the S. No S's to come and no blanks. "11 tiles in the bag. Verena, okay, I'll go with stanzas. And a pretty decent last set of 5. Is there an outplay through the O perhaps? Not seeing it through the O. What about above? Is there a 5-letter play here? Gamete onto or through an E. Vitom is not a word. What about get? Could play get for 20, but I should be able to score more. What about mating? 22. mating for 22. And opponent goes out with ounce, so that's the end of the game. 545 to 399. Thank my opponent, and let's see what we've missed in this particular game. So goaded or dodge, pretty close for equity. Opponent has Hodja, and then a few different options for bingos. Petaline, tape line. And then opponent's got a Harry, that looks fine. Gasted for 70, but Dragster through the R. Ah, okay. Dragster. 4B. Oh, that's through. Oh, getting the D, yeah, doubled. Okay. But then giving back a score, so not crazy about that. Gasted seems fine. Boxy for 48, good score. And then Iwi looks fine here for 16. Firewall for 68, nice find by opponent. And then took a bit of time on this rack, but no playable bingo. Went with the highest score of Peck. And then opponent's got a couple of bingos, air radios in two different spots. Goes with Adios. And Trunking and Turn Skin were the two available, two playable bingos, I should say. And opponent's got a little bit of a horror show rack there. Exchange is 4, seems fine. PV for 37. Wow, 3H. Where was... Ah, nice. PV. And I went with Oya for 38. That seems fine. Opponent's now got a couple of bingos. Ramius and Neuroma. Gets that down. And I've got the Q, so 44 or cat for 47 at 1D. Ah, top left. That's not a bad move, actually. Although taking out this hotspot, I think, is more important with the Z still to come and the F, the V. So that's a fairly large score. I thought get rid of the Q and take out one hotspot. I suppose this one a little bit harder to use than this one, hence my choice to play at the bottom. As it happens, opponent does score well at the top with Flob. Now, veto for 23 was to block the Z, possible Z plays. Plays like Azine or what were the other ones I saw? Yeah, something like ZO there. Or something like, yeah, something like that. Then veto 23, so I went with that. And opponent's got Verino for 27, which looks fine. Now stanzas for 109, or stanzas at M8, pluralizing Teo. So that seems okay. And then opponent gets rid of some vowels. And mating for 22 was the top score, along with meeting. So there were no outplays. and then opponent goes out with ounce. So that was the end of the game. Pretty decent game there, one or two misses as usual, and hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.